Welcome to Within the Frame, where we bring the most pressing issues across the globe into focus. I'm Kim Mok-yeon. As the 2025 Mobile World Congress wraps up, the world's biggest stage for mobile and telecom innovation has once again set the stone for future of connectivity. From AI-powered networks and digital assistants to next-generation 6G infrastructure and wireless optical communication, this year's event has been packed with groundbreaking announcements. But beyond the product launches and flashy demonstrations, key questions remain. How is AI transforming the telecom industry, and what role is Korea playing in shaping global connectivity? Today, we sit down with industry experts to break down the biggest takeaways from MWC 2025 and what's coming up next in the world of telecom and technology. And for this, we have Dillian Hall, country manager at Deutsche Telekom AG, in the studio with us. A big welcome.
Thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you. And also joining us online is Mohammed Slim Alouini, Distinguished Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering at King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. Great to have you, Professor.
Thank you.
So let's start with Mr. Seo. So like I said, the MWC has officially wrapped up, and we've seen a wide range of new technology innovations on display. Could you tell us what were the main themes of the event, and how has it evolved from future events?
Right.
Past events, rather, excuse me.
Sure. So MWC 2025, the theme, Converge, Connect, and Create, wasn't just a slogan. It was rather a blueprint for the entire event. AI wasn't just a buzzword. I think it was just the engine driving every conversation. Let me give you specific examples. So SK Telecom demoed what they called AI RAN. So it's an AI-powered base station that adjusts signal strength in real time based on the user density. So imagine a stadium packed with hundreds of thousands of people streaming videos at the same time. And instead of buffering, AI RAN predicts traffic spikes and reroutes bandwidth automatically. So this actually cuts the downtime by 50%. And Deutsche Telekom took this further and with their autonomous network vision, where AI handles 90% of network operations, like rerouting data during a fiber cut without human input. But it's not just about networks. LG U+ showcased their AI agent called Oxygen, which detects phishing scams mid-call by analyzing voice patterns. In trials, it blocked 95% of the fraudulent calls, compared to the last year's MWC, which focused on 5G rollouts. This year was about applying AI to solve real-world problems. Even the GSMA confirmed 74% of global carriers are now using generative AI to cut cost and boost efficiency. So the message, AI isn't the future, but it is the now.
Right, it doesn't definitely sound like an engine that's driving the development, and it would definitely help consumers become more convenient in many aspects. Now let's also bring Professor Alouini into the conversation. So with so many innovations introduced, what were the biggest product launches and technology breakthroughs that stood out to you this year?
Obviously, MWC is a huge event. I cannot claim that I went to every single booth and I kind of got to know about every single new innovation. But at least from my visit of some of the booths, based on some of the innovations that have been highlighted over there, I can talk about three very interesting innovations in a very brief fashion. So one is kind of really picking momentum, which is satellite enhanced connectivity. This ability to basically use our standard basically smartphone to connect to satellite when we are in unconnected regions. So of course satellite communication has been there for a long time, but they were using different kind of phones. We are going to an era where basically we'll have this enhanced connectivity anywhere, anytime. So essentially, we are not going to adapt to the network. The network will adapt to us and will allow us to connect to the close by Wi-Fi access point if you are a kind of an indoor environment, to the base station that is attached to kind of a tower when we are in an urban environment, and to a satellite when we are in a maritime or a rural environment. So that's one kind of trend that we have seen with many companies such as ACS and few others, highlighting this integration of cellular and satellite. The second innovation I personally liked is this kind of Infinix light power wireless charging kind of capability that they illustrate or they demoed during MWC. It's just a case that you can attach to your smartphone, and that can basically harvest solar energy, or actually can harvest light even from an indoor light bulb. And it gives, of course, not that much power, I think 2 watts over 1 hour, but that's enough in emergency situation where we don't have access to a charging capabilities. And I personally like that innovation. And the third innovation I really personally liked is this Xiaomi modular optical system. We are talking about a high resolution lens that you can attach magnetically to the Xiaomi smartphone and connect it through a high-speed laser link connection to basically enable enhanced photo and video capabilities. So basically, in a nutshell, what I like about these 3 innovations is that they are, let's say, they reap the benefit of the economy of scale. We have now about 6 billion people using smartphone by having ads-on via satellite, via basically a case that allow you to charge your phone, or a lens that allow you to get enhanced capabilities within your standard phone without having to buy a new phone.
Right, so they sound like game-changing innovations that, kind of help you have a sense of relief in some kind of difficult situations. So one of the biggest discussions at the MWC was around AI transforming the telecoms industry. So Mr. Seo, since you're deeply involved in the industry, could you explain for us how is AI reshaping telecoms, and what does this mean for users and consumers?
Yeah, so let's get down to the brass tacks. So AI is saving telecom companies millions and millions of dollars. Take Bell Canada, for example. They partner with Google Cloud to build an AI platform that predicts network failure before it happens. So just last month, their system detected a cooling fan failure in a Toronto data center 12 hours in advance. And result? 0 downtime and $2 million saved in potential outage. Deutsche Telecom's RAN Guardian AI is even smarter. It monitors 5G towers across Europe and tweaking antenna angles and power levels to optimize the coverage. In Munich, this reduced drop calls by 30%. For consumers, the impact is huge. SK Telecom's AI assistant named A.Aster doesn't just answer questions only, but it actually acts. So, for example, ask it to book a flight, and it checks your calendar, compares the prices, and reserves your seat.
Wow, that's
impressive. All in one chat. So during testing, users saved about 40 minutes per task. Mm-hmm. So an LG U Plus, they have something called the Ixio. So it listens to your calls in real time. And if a scammer asks for your bank details, Ixio just flashes the warning and just drops the call. And in Korea, where voice phishing costs $500 million annually, and this is a game changer. So in Korea, where this is at the bottom line, AI isn't just reshaping telecom, but it's making us smarter, faster, and safer.
Right. So since you've mentioned this developments from South Korean companies, could you also tell us how South Korea is positioning itself as a global leader in the AI industry?
Sure. So South Korea isn't just competing in the AI race. I think we are lapping the field. At MWC, the Korean pavilion was a showstopper. SK Telecom CEO Ryu Young-sang unveiled their AI infrastructure superhighway. It's a blueprint for AI-powered data centers. One example, AI-driven cooling systems that cut energy used by 25%, saving $10 million annually per facility. And KT demoed AI call services that translate languages in real time. Imagine a Korean CEO negotiating with a German supplier, no interpreters needed. Their AI even picks up cultural nuances, like bowing in Japan versus handshakes in the United States. But the real star was LG U Plus Exogen. This AI agent just doesn't block the scams, it learns. So after analyzing 10,000 phishing calls, it now identifies new scam patterns 80% faster than human. The government is also backing this push with $1.2 billion in R&D grants. So it's paying off. So Korean AI patents just jumped 45% this year. With 50% global deals signed at MWC, like SK Telecom's partners with Angola to deploy AI RAN, Korea isn't just leading, I think we're exporting the future.
Wow. So we all know that South Korea has been a tech powerhouse, but it's very impressive to see how it continues to, lead the change in AI connectivity as well. Now, a big part of AI-driven connectivity is how consumers interact with AI-powered services. Now, like Mr. Seo has mentioned, SK Telecom's A-Esther and LG U+'s Ixio have been making headlines. Professor Luini, how do these AI systems enhance the consumer experience, and how do they compare to global AI developments?
Yeah, so these two products are an illustration of the integration of AI into smartphone and more generally into consumer electronics. So A-Esther from SK Telecom and Ixio LG are in a way for like a worldwide audience, in my view at least, similar to, let's say, Siri from Apple or Alexa from Amazon or Google Assistant, but they are more tailored to the South South Korea market, as Mr. Seo mentioned earlier. So you have this capability of detecting, let's say, voice phishing calls and alert the users, and this has to be developed in a Korean context, in a regional context, to be able to detect these kind of threats coming from that part of the world. But of course, they have also all of these other interesting capabilities in terms of automatic call answering, call summarizing, call archiving. Obviously, I'm not an expert in Korean products, but based on my reading, based on my visit to some booth during MWC, this is actually some of the nice feature that these two basically products are providing to the users in South Korea.
Mm-hmm. So while South Korea is making major moves in AI technology, in telecom, we can't not talk about China, of course. China's presence has been stronger than ever with Huawei, Xiaomi, of course. How would you assess China's growing influence on the global telecoms industry, Mr. Seo?
Right. China's MW presence wasn't just big. It was dominant, I would say. So Huawei's 5.5G core can handle 10 million IoT devices per square kilometers. Think smart cities, where every traffic light, trash can, and bike lanes are fully connected. In Shenzhen, they're testing this with 2 million sensors, managing traffic flows so precisely so that commute times dropped by 20%. ZTE's Open RAN gear is even more disruptive. It's 30% cheaper than Ericsson or Nokia, which is why European carriers like Vodafone are buying in. In Spain, ZTE's gear cut deployments cost for rural 5G by $4 million per site. But there's a catch. Huawei's AI-powered network slicing lets them prioritize Chinese tech firms first. So during MWC, one of the top European telcos executive told me off record, if you use Huawei's cloud, your data routes through Shenzhen, even in Europe. So, and with US tariffs on Chinese gear hitting 35%, carriers face a dilemma. So cutting cost versus security risks. So China's not just selling tech, but they're reshaping the rules.
So China's role is definitely undeniable in this industry. Now, as AI and 5G evolve, the backbone of telecom's network structure, of course, is also undergoing a significant transformation. Professor Luini, what are the key trends in network infrastructure and connectivity solutions that you observed this year?
Yeah, so I mean, if we continue with the theme that Mr. Seo talked about, how AI is becoming dominant in network management, I remember like looking at this booth of or pavilion of NVIDIA, highlighting the readiness of the notion of AI agent. And AI agent are essentially kind of tools that allow to kind of observe, think or reason, if you will, and make decisions. So they can basically replace human in managing networks. And the application, of course, are many. We can think of automatic repair, like detecting failures and repairing them in an automatic fashion, or even better, predictive maintenance, where basically based on some patterns, you can predict that some of the server may fail and kind of right away take the automatic decision to replace or add some extra capacity to make sure that the failure doesn't occur. So predictive maintenance, repairing is like a big aspect now of AI, how AI can help managing network. But also in terms of efficiency, Mr. Shaw alluded to that, like in particular energy efficiency. As you know, all the mobile network operator want to basically optimize their energy efficiency for not only from basically sustainability and CO2 footprint perspective, but also to reduce their energy bill. And the AI can be agent can be a great tool to basically monitor traffic, optimize the load, put some of the base station in sleep mode when the traffic is low during particular hours of the day. Like Mr. Shaw mentioned, optimize network parameter, antenna tilting, basically amount of powers, allocation of resources to different part of the network to basically improve the overall efficiency of the network. So clearly AI is becoming dominant in managing networks on the top, of course, of all other innovations that are happening at the physical layer.
Right, so it definitely set a milestone in the development in the area. But network innovation doesn't stop at 5G. Telecom companies are racing to develop AI-powered 6G networks as well. And 6G is expected to bring even faster speeds and ultra-low latency. But could you explain for us, Mr. Seo, what does that mean for actual customers and users?
That's a great question. Yeah. So 6G isn't just about speed. It's about reimagining connectivity. So let's break it down. Speed, for instance, 6G's terahertz frequencies hit 1 terabit per second. So downloading Avatar 3 or drone in 2 seconds. But the real magic is the latency, under 1 millisecond. For gamers, this means zero lag in VR battles. For surgeons, it enables remote robotic operations where a handshake delay could be fatal. There's no more problem like that. AI native design, 6G breaks AI into network's DNA. So imagine your phone negotiating with your smart fridge. For example, it's midnight, right? Let's pause updates to save battery. And ever since testing this in Stockholm, and where AI agents manage 10,000 devices simultaneously, so cutting energy use by 18%. But here's the kicker, zero energy devices. So sensors that harvest power from ambient Wi-Fi signals. So no batteries. So Huawei showed a warehouse where 10,000 sensors track inventory. So saving $500,000 yearly in battery cost. So for consumers, 6G means always on, always smart tech without a charging headaches.
Wow, so unbelievable. Thank you for the so much relatable examples that you've mentioned. Now, speaking of this connectivity, next generation connectivity, Professor Luini, we hear that you were also participating in a panel session on TARA, which is pioneering wireless optical communication. For our viewers unfamiliar with this, could you explain for us what makes it so special?
Yeah, so this is really the area of research I'm quite active in my research group at KAUS in Saudi Arabia. So free space optics, which is part of optical wireless communication, is to use laser to transfer information, not over fiber like we all know fiber optics, but over the air. And that's why it's called free space optic communication. Basically what it provides, super high speed, low latency communication, the order of hundreds of gigabit to terabit per second. It also taps into the uncongested, huge optical band, in contrast to the RF spectrum that is becoming more and more congested, more and more crowded. And because it uses pencil narrow beam type of transmission, it has a low probability of interception, so higher level of security. So it's a technology that is quite mature. It has been researched for decades, but what Tara was able to do is to make this technology more reliable, more a product that can be deployed, in particular in rural areas, to kind of bring backhaul to these areas. We are talking about 20 kilometer, 20 gigabit, two-way over-the-air communication. And to conclude, one of the main announcements was made in this session and this panel was their new chip, which miniaturized their current flagship light bridge product that can open the floor for a variety of applications for optical wireless communication in space, drone-to-drone communication, ground-to-drone communication, but also for data center, for inter-rack communication as a cable replacement solution. And like going back to what I mentioned earlier, this Xiaomi optical module, chip-to-chip laser communication. So that's really part of the future of connectivity, how optical wireless communication will be integrated in this connectivity ecosystem.
So it would be definitely exciting to watch these developments unfold with so many breakthroughs on the horizon. The real change will be how quickly these technologies can be integrated to our daily lives and how companies could navigate the opportunities and also the risks that could come with them. We'll be watching closely as these developments unfold. We had a very fun discussion today. Time went by so fast. I had more questions, but I'm afraid we'll have to wrap up our discussion at this point. Thank you so much for your insights, Mr. Saw.
Thank you.
And also Professor Aluini, of course. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
And that'll be all from us on Within the Frame. Be sure to tune in next time as we continue to explore the stories that matter. Till then, stay informed and engaged.